Plenty more rain on the way in the next few days. How quickly we're picking up more than an inch of rain coming up. This half of the week is going to be the rainy half. So outside right now, things are pretty quiet for majority of us. A few still seeing some showers well off to the north of the 275 loop. That will be a potential here for about another hour or so. I'd say closer to 5 o'clock. We start to dry back out, and from there we're going to be dry for most of the overnight. But then tomorrow we're going to see several rain chances throughout the day, in the morning and then into the afternoon especially. 73 in Cincinnati right now, wind coming in closer to about 10 miles per hour. I do think at times it could be a little bit breezy outside this evening. We are going to see that rain chance for about another hour or so, mostly for our northern counties. Otherwise, if you're south of, say, northern Butler and Warren counties, most of us are going to stay dry for the rest of this evening. Some winds could gust closer to about 25 miles per hour though this evening, so a little bit breezy from time to time. We're heading into our wet pattern that starts tomorrow. So coming up in a few minutes, I'm going to show you the window in which we're picking up majority of our rain totals. By the time we get to the middle of the week, we are looking at picking up a good soaker of some rain. So I'll show you when most of that falls coming up in a few. Steady soaker arriving into Cincinnati. How long that's going to last and how much rain you can expect to fall in your yard throughout the next few days coming up. You're watching Cincinnati's WLWT News 5, and we'll be right back. Kick in here beginning tomorrow. Right now it's pretty quiet outside. We've had a few showers that have moved throughout Butler and Warren counties not too long ago. Even parts of southeastern Indiana still seeing some light showers over north of Connorsville, areas north of Union as well, seeing some light rainfall. Otherwise it's quiet all for the rest of this evening and overnight. But as you wake up early on in the morning tomorrow, there's a chance that we have a little bit of rainfall around. I think this is generally going to come into play by about sunrise, really either side of sunrise for tomorrow morning, and not everybody's going to see it. When everybody's going to start to see some rainfall starts this time tomorrow, we'll begin to start to see our steady soaker moving in here, and that's going to bring us about 1 to 2 inches of rainfall by Wednesday morning. So this is the culprit right here. Cold front's going to slowly start to work its way into the greater Cincinnati area, bringing us a likely chance of rain Tuesday afternoon throughout Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning. Once we get into Wednesday afternoon, we'll start to dry out for a couple of days. We'll need that dry weather after picking up the 1 to 2 inches of rain that we're going to be getting. As far as this evening is concerned, there's that chance of a spotty shower, mostly north of the 275 loop and closer to I-70, but otherwise we'll stay mostly dry for the rest of tonight. Here's Futurecast drying out overnight before early tomorrow morning, when we've got that chance of some showers working its way through the area. Here's about 8 o'clock in the morning. That slight chance of rainfall, though, coming in just into the heart of the Cincinnati metro. So keep this in mind for any commutes you might have going into downtown or maybe into northern Kentucky for work. And then heading into the afternoon time frame, we get enough of a break. Temperatures manage to slide into the 70s briefly tomorrow afternoon, but I do think as the kids are getting off the bus to get home for the day, we'll start to see some of those scattered showers moving back in here. This is about 3 or 4 o'clock. That's when those rain chances really begin to kick in for the afternoon. Not everybody sees it at first, but closer to the evening time frame tomorrow, it becomes more widespread. And at that point, we're talking widespread and steady soakers that will last into Wednesday morning. So if your kids have outdoor sports, practice doesn't start until 7 or 8. Tomorrow night is one of those nights that I do think practices or games are going to be in jeopardy if they are outdoors later on into the evening. With this bringing us about 1 to 2 inches of rainfall, most of that falls overnight Tuesday into early Wednesday morning. I do think early Wednesday morning we'll still see some lingering scattered showers, but they start to wrap up and then we'll dry out by Wednesday afternoon, and we stay dry for a few days. However, with that, we're also going to be a little bit cooler because this is that front, the cold front that's moving through. Most of this is going to be rainfall. There's a chance of a rumble of thunder or two throughout Tuesday night into Wednesday, but I'm not overly concerned about any sort of thunderstorms or anything like that. The main thing is that we're picking up about 1 to 2 inches of rainfall in a shorter window of time. So we'll be watching any rivers or creeks or anything like that. Not something I'm concerned about for many of us, but still just something that of course we're going to be keeping an eye on back of our mind here. 73 in Cincinnati right now. Temperatures are sitting in the 60s, up where we just got a little bit of rainfall, closer to the mid to upper 70s throughout Kentucky so far this afternoon. A nice day out there overall. Tomorrow of course is going to be a weather impact day. Wednesday one as well, as we have that chance of rain during the morning commute. After that we start to dry out, but as we get closer to Mother's Day weekend, we've got the chance to see some rainfall. In fact, Sunday is going to be a weather impact day. Slight chance of showers early Saturday, but better rain chances for this week, with around 1 to 2 inches on the way, when most of that is going to fall coming up.
To see.
Yeah, we're picking up a good soaking in the next couple of days. Right now, this is the quiet before we start to see all of that rainfall. So get things done. If you didn't get to the yard over the weekend, you still have this evening to get that done. 73 in Cincinnati right now. Temperatures are closer to 74 in Westchester. Delhi also sitting at 74. We have about 75 in New Richmond so far here tonight. There were some showers up closer to I-70. Those are starting to kind of fade away. I do still think there's at least a chance if you're in Butler or Warren counties or north of I-70 that you could have a few more sprinkles moving through, but otherwise we're going to see pretty dry weather for the rest of this evening. Temperatures too, not too bad. We'll stay in the 70s for a little while longer, anywhere from mid to low 70s through 8 o'clock, and then down into the 60s for us here as we head into the overnight hours. A little bit more mild this evening, but cooler weather is on the way. Before we can get there, we have to pick up that 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. I'll show you when that's going to be most prominent and when things are going to start to dry out, but cool off coming up in a few. Sheree? Now, but both of those things are changing this week. I'll show you the timeline for when you can expect to pick up some steady rainfall and how quickly our temperatures are going to be dropping coming up in a few. You're watching Cincinnati's WLWT News 5, and we'll be right back. Period for later on in the week, but then this weekend brings us another chance of seeing some showers. 73 right now in Cincinnati, so actually pretty comfortable outside, not too far away from normal for us for this time of year. We also have dry weather for the most part all across town. There were some showers earlier on this afternoon, but those have simply wrapped up for most of us. I still think there's a chance of a stray sprinkle out there, but for the most part, things are quieting down. You can see where that rain happened. We're sitting in the 60s up toward Connersville and Oxford, 70 in Middletown, 65 in Springboro. Not too far down the road, though, 75 in Hamilton, 73 in Cincinnati. We have 75 degrees in Independence, and Florence sitting at 74. So areas that picked up that rainfall. It was a quick shower, lasted maybe an hour or so earlier this afternoon, a little bit cooler. Still think that there could be some rain out there throughout this evening, but I think for the most part, things are really quieting down for the vast majority of us. Here's our cold front that's going to bring us the potential for some rain tomorrow. This could drop anywhere from 1 to 2 inches of rainfall on us throughout Tuesday into early Wednesday morning. So for Tuesday morning, not a ton of rain is going to come down. There's at least a chance that we have some showers around for the morning commute. But once we get into Tuesday afternoon and evening, I do think that drive home from work is going to be pretty soggy for most of us. And then by tomorrow evening, 7, 8 o'clock, steady widespread rain, and that's going to continue overnight into early Wednesday morning. Once we get to Wednesday morning, those rainfall totals generally are going to be closer to about 1 to 2 inches for most of us. On average, I think the least that we pick up is around 1 inch. I think the most is closer to 2, with an average of about 1.5 inches for a lot of towns by early Wednesday morning. We'll start to dry out into the afternoon, but this also brings in some cooler air for the second half of the week. Our mornings are going to be spent in the 40s, 30s at times, and then even some of our afternoons topping out in the 50s and in the 60s. So some chilly air as we round out the work week. Right now, temperatures are sitting in the 70s again, mostly dry for the rest of tonight. An isolated sprinkle if you're closer to I-70. Otherwise, many of us are going to stay dry here tonight. Partly cloudy skies increase to mostly cloudy by morning, and then here comes that stray shower chance early on tomorrow morning. Now, with all this rain that we're getting Tuesday and early Wednesday, some rumbles of thunder will be a possibility, but not something that I'm overly concerned with. That quick rain chance tomorrow morning. We get a break in the afternoon from about morning to midday. And then from there, we'll start to see the rain working its way back in. Here's 3 o'clock. So as the kids are getting home from school, you've got some rain around depending on what neighborhood you live in. If your kids have practices tomorrow evening into 7, 8 o'clock in the evening, that's going to bring some rainfall. I would say some cancellations or some delays are definitely in your future for tomorrow evening if you've got any of those games or scrimmages going on. Into Wednesday morning we go, and the chance of rain is going to stick around early Wednesday. So that's why Wednesday's a weather impact day for us as well. Temperatures are already going to be cooler Wednesday, likely dropping into the 50s for a portion of the day. 50s again Thursday, and then this upcoming weekend, I hate to say it for all the moms out there, but there is a chance of seeing some rain on Sunday for Mother's Day. And at this point, it is looking likely that we'll have that rainfall around. For tomorrow, though, temperatures are going to steady soaking rain all throughout greater Cincinnati. Tonight is totally opposite, where things are still quiet and dry all across town. You might still see a few sprinkles up toward Connorsville, but otherwise things are pretty quiet for us around town. Here's our front that's going to bring us that chance of rain tomorrow. This is going to possibly bring in some showers early in the morning tomorrow, as well as the chance of rain as we get into the afternoon, which then becomes steady throughout tomorrow evening. So overall, Tuesday looks like a rainy day, and gloomy too, because we don't even see much sunshine between any of those showers tomorrow. It's 74 in Cincinnati right now, not too bad. We actually briefly made it into the upper 70s within the last hour or so. We'll stay in the 70s for a bit longer, but then tonight starting to fall down into the 60s before eventually 50s return by tomorrow morning. So we've got that soaker around for tomorrow. That continues overnight Tuesday into some of Wednesday morning, and behind that rain is going to be some cooler weather. I'll show you how much cooler it's going to be and more on those rainfall totals for the next few days coming up. Moving through Cincinnati, coming up in a few minutes, I'll show you how long this is going to last, how much rain you can anticipate picking up by the time you wake up Wednesday morning, and the cooler weather that follows. You're watching Cincinnati's WLWT News 5. And we'll be right back. Do have a cloudy sky out there at the moment, but things are still looking pretty quiet and dry for us around town. You might run into a sprinkle if you're north of I-74, but it looks like for the most part that's even starting to wrap up here. Now, as you wake up in the morning tomorrow, this front sitting to our northwest is going to start to edge in closer to Cincinnati. That's going to bring us the chance of rain as soon as you wake up in the morning. It's not going to be something that necessarily is heavy or even widespread first thing tomorrow morning, but starting tomorrow afternoon, that narrative changes, because that's when we're going to start to see the steady rain that's going to continue into the evening, overnight, and then by the time you wake up Wednesday morning, we're looking at anywhere from 1 to 2 inches of rain on average for most of us around town. Now, I'm not too concerned about flooding or anything like that. Of course, we'll keep an eye on local creeks and streams and things, but for the most part, 1 to 2 inches of rain should be handled by our grounds pretty nicely. We'll start to dry out as we get into the afternoon. In fact, I think even the more scattered rain wraps up pretty early Wednesday morning, and then we'll get a couple of days of some dry weather, but certainly much cooler weather as temperatures start to fall down. For our overnights into the 40s, some nights even into the 30s, and then afternoons are going to be in the 50s and then to the 60s for a few days for the second half of this week. So for the rest of tonight, cloud cover starts to increase ahead of those rain chances for tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. And there is some rainfall that's going to be around for the heart of the morning rush as well as the heart of the metro. So keep this in mind first thing in the morning tomorrow. Then into the afternoon, we do get a break, likely sometime mid-morning through mid-afternoon. As we get closer to about 2-3 o'clock, I do think we start to see more scattered rain moving in. Not everybody sees it initially, but once we get to about this time tomorrow night, it becomes much more widespread, and at that point much more steady as well. This is why we're talking about 1 to 2 inches of rainfall by the time you wake up on Wednesday morning. Here's overnight Tuesday into Wednesday. We'll still see that rain chance lingering. Temperatures for tonight, not too bad, 56, certainly much warmer compared to where we were throughout some of our mornings this past weekend. That rain's around by the morning, and temperatures tomorrow are going to likely still manage to make it into the 70s in the afternoon. So we are going to see just enough of a break that we see temperatures in the 70s by the afternoon. That rainfall arriving, again, it could be as late as 3 to 4 o'clock, as early as 2 to 3, just depending, sometime as the kids are getting off the bus heading home, and then by the evening, 60s,